give up. Don't give up. Fight forever. Don't give up. Fight forever. Don't give up. Fight forever. Fight forever and ever and ever and ever.
Well, actually, I was had just left college in Mississippi and had came back to Atlanta. My first wife, which I got married very young at the time, had her baby, and I couldn't support her and go to school and pay the bills and this and that. So I moved back to Atlanta, and I went to work for European Health Spa at the time, and I was like a personal trainer, and so we had a variety of people to come in, and a lot of those guys and women that came in, mostly men of course, were wrestlers. And Lars Anderson came through the door one day, and you know, I played football, basketball, and baseball all through high school, and I never wrestled, amateur wrestled, but I was always an athlete. My father was a professional athlete, professional football player with the Detroit Lions. He was an All-American at South Carolina, and so I kind of had athletics in my blood. And Lars came in, and at the time he had broken away from NWA, which Ole Anderson and Jim Barnett and NWA, and was starting his own group, which was WLW, World League Wrestling. And so he was needing some wrestlers, and so me and him kind of talked a little bit about it, and of course he was charging a fee to be, you know, to train guys. And at the time I didn't have, you know, the money to pay, you know, for this to be trained, but he took me on a kind of contingent type thing, or basically trained me for free. And so at the time he had a studio in Smyrna, Georgia, and so I would go over there to his studio pretty much every night, or at least 5 out of the 7 nights of the week, and train and wrestle, train to be wrestled. And for the first, I'd say 2 months, he never even showed me how to lock up. You know, it was all about amateur wrestling. Lars was an amateur wrestler too, up in Minnesota, St. Paul, up there where he was from. And so it was mainly conditioning and amateur wrestling, and so that's pretty much all we did, was just, you know, like push-ups, sit-ups, Hindu squats, just training and calisthenic type things, and you know, to get ourselves in shape, which I was already in pretty good shape. And so about the time I came in, another guy came in, Deaton, who was an amateur, heavyweight amateur wrestling champion in high school in Georgia, and so he, you know, had an amateur background, and he was a big, you know, 300-pounder, 6'5", big dude, and you know, he was a rough customer, and just with my natural athletic ability, I picked up the amateur part of wrestling pretty quick, and he would have guys come in. I think he ran an ad in the paper, and he'd have guys that come in and to try out for wrestling, and of course he would put them in the ring, first with me, you know, and then with David, and then after they had, you know, the tongues were about to fall out of the mouth from being so tired, you know, Lars would get in the ring with them, and so we were kind of. I wouldn't say I was his henchman because, you know, I wasn't the best amateur wrestler. David was, and so, you know, like David would kind of take that position of being the one to you know, kind of stretch the guys and see how much heart they had and see how much they wanted to truly be a professional wrestler. And after a couple of months, Lars, you know, started actually teaching us the art of professional wrestling, and so he had a TV come in, and I think it was channel 69 at the time, out of Atlanta, and as a matter of fact, Jim Ross was one of his first wrestling announcers. And I think that was one of Jim's first times announcing wrestling, and he came in and did some of the announcing along with this other fella, and I can't seem to recall his name, but I do remember Jim coming in and helping us out, and so Lars's backer pulled out, and like I say, we had been with Lars for a good 10, 11 months, you know, and had been loyal to him and been waiting on him to, you know, get the TV established, get some towns going, and it just never happened. And so, you know, me and David, being Lars's World Tag Team Champions, you know, we just had to branch out. So we called Ole over at the NWA, who was a booker at the time for Jim Barnett, and of course Lars was the innovator and initiator of the whole Anderson brother the whole Anderson brother thing concept. It was Lars and Gene to start with, and then they brought Ole in later, and for some reason, Lars and Ole never really got along that well, for whatever reason, I don't know. But and so Lars was working for the NWA for Barnett and all this, and then he broke away and started his WLW, and we came in. But when we left Lars, we called over there, and Ole said, "Sure, come on down. You know, we'll book you guys on TV and you know, give you some matches." And so we, you know, naively went down, and he, I think the first match that we wrestled on TBS was against Buzz Sawyer and Ricky Fields. I think Buzz was about 18 or 19 at the time, and he was quite a good amateur wrestler himself. Ricky Fields was so, you know. I had a real hard time with Buzz, but Buzz couldn't handle David, and what Ole had told Buzz and Ricky before they went out there was not to give us nothing. Don't even give us a smile, you know, just to eat us up and kill us, because we were the so-called opposition, which really we weren't, because we weren't hurting their business at all. But Ole being Ole, you know, told Buzz and Ricky to eat us up. So that's what they tried to do, and but it didn't work. And I still have that match on tape somewhere. As a matter of fact, I do have the tape. Gordon Sully was a commentator, and for some reason he called us the DeBrano brothers. He got that wrong. It was the Bruno brothers. But we had the match. You know, we started out, and I tried some things, you know, with Buzz, and of course he was blocking everything, and you know, and I was thinking, well, you know, you know, what's going on here? You know, and everything I tried to do, he'd block, and then you know he'd try to shoot on me, and then and then after a few times of that, it clicked, you know, what was going on, and David, you know, was chomping at the bits for me to get over and tag him. So of course I finally got over to tag him, and he came in, and Buzz tried that stuff with him, and it, you know, it just didn't work. I mean, David was, you know, was just too much for Buzz to handle, and Ricky didn't have a chance. But we went ahead and got through the match and went on with the finish. I did the job. But what did happen was we got respect from the vets in the back, because they saw that you know that we could work we were still green, but we could work a little bit, and we weren't going to let them eat us up, and we didn't let them eat us up, and so we got, you know, some respect from those guys back there, and Ole had something sarcastic to say after the match. I can't remember exactly what it was, but anyway, the next week we wrestled. We had a match against Bill Eadie, the Masked Superstar, and Ivan Koloff, and it was like night and day between from the week before, wrestling Ivan and Bill, the Masked Superstar. They really worked with us, and you know, it was a much better match. It was more fluid, and it was just a world of difference from the week before.